Eu sou o Ricardo Araújo Pereira e este é o podcast de Coisa que não edifica nem destrói. Hoje com outro episódio especial. Desta vez estou a falar com Whoopi Goldberg no festival Tribeca. Infelizmente não falámos em português por imposição da Whoopi. Por mim tínhamos falado, mas ela tem aquelas manias e portanto é em estrangeiro ou o que é.
Hello. They are not used to me speaking in English, so that's why.
They're not going to be used to me speaking English either.
Yeah. So, hello, good afternoon. Thank you for coming. I'm here, as you know, with Miss Whoopi Goldberg.
Don't do it.
Because we were arguing backstage. I said I was going to stick to Miss Goldberg, but Whoopi said that
No.
Whoopi is fine. So
because when you have a ridiculous first name, you cannot put Miss in front of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So Whoopi
That's right.
is,
There
as you know,
Say it one more time, Ricardo.
Whoopi.
That's right.
Whoopi, as you know, is a comedian, an actor, an author. She belongs to a group of only 21 people that have received the complete EGOT. That means, yeah. That means that Whoopi has an Emmy, a Grammy, a Golden Globe, and an Oscar. Actually, more than one of some of those. Yeah.
But, you know, I have to tell you, I had no idea what it was. I went and did 30 Rock with Tracy Morgan. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is an EGOT? What is this? He said, well, it's when you have this and this and this. I said, I've never heard of this before. He said, well, it's a thing. And now it's a thing. I didn't know.
It's a thing that only 21 people managed to receive. Some of them were, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I hope there's no more motorcycles in our show.
You can blame it on the motorcycle if you want to, Ricardo.
So it's a group. Other members of that group are, among others, Mel Brooks, Audrey Hepburn, Mike Nichols, Elton John. So you see the kind of people that belong to this group. Maybe I would like to start, given the name of this session.
Okay.
Maybe we would start with your recently published memoir that's called Bits and Pieces, My Mother, My Brother, and Me.
Yes.
It deals with the loss of Whoopi's mother in 2010, and 5 years later, her older brother. Let me quote you from almost the end of the book. My best advice to anybody who has lost their mom is to find a way to celebrate her life. Regardless of what your relationship was with her, figure out how to find some humor in who she was and your life with her. The best way to honor your mom is to laugh. Laughing makes you breathe differently and lightens everything up so you can see where you're going and put one foot in front of the other. How does this work? How does laughter,
I think laughter is the only thing that is universal. And even when your mom was mad at you or whatever, you could always get a smile or get something. And I think sometimes people forget, regardless of what your relationship was, that was the first person who looked at you. Mm-hmm. That was the very first person who just picked you up and carried you around, yelled at you, said all the things to you, all the stuff that you hated and all the stuff that you loved. And so I couldn't understand why people kept talking to me after my mom passed. I was like, don't you realize what's happened to me? And if it hasn't happened to them, no, people don't know. They don't know what it feels like because it hasn't happened. So you have to find a way to keep breathing. And the best way to keep breathing is to start to laugh. Because in order to breathe, you have to laugh, I think. But maybe I'm kooky.
In the book, you say that you were left alone because not because you don't have any friends, you have lots of people that surround you.
I know some people. I know you.
Yeah, we have now a very close bond.
We're like this.
Of course. But you said that you had lost the two people that had known you from the start.
Yeah, well, my daughter is 50, and she has her kids, and she has her granddaughter and my great-granddaughter, but there aren't very many people who knew me when I couldn't walk, or who knew me when I was still wetting my pants, or who knew me when I was at my best and worst, and who didn't judge me.
Yeah.
So now I'm left among judgy people, and I'm getting used to it. But my mother would tell me the truth, the ugly truth, and I miss that.
Yeah. Let me get back to the title of this session, because in your memoir, you say that after receiving the news that your mother had passed, you went back backstage, and Dame Maggie Smith was there.
Yes.
And let me quote: "That's when this magnificent woman, Dame Maggie Smith, went from being my backstage company to being my friend through the rest of the night. She decided she would stay with me until I was on my way to the airport. A flight was arranged for me to leave early the next morning. For the next 5 hours, Maggie sat with me and let me talk her ear off, telling stories about my mom, my growing up years, and my brother. We laughed a lot." Now, some people would find that strange, that someone who was mourning would be laughing. But it's not strange at all, is it?
No, I don't think people know what mourning is. You don't know what it is until you're in it. And so I was lucky because Maggie, who has left quite recently, first of all, she came to see me doing a rendition of Sister Act on stage, where I was playing her part. And when she came, she said, "Wasn't there anyone else?" Like, no, where were you? She said, "Well, I've been busy." And so I knew I was going to see her after the show. And you all right? And I knew I was going to see her, so when I got the news, I said, this has just happened, and I'm not sure I can go out. And she said, let me stay with you. We'll do this together. Yeah. And so we laughed and we talked, and she asked me a lot about my mom and myself, and I got to talk to her because she had recently, I think 2 years prior, lost her husband. So it was a lot of good conversation about how to move forward. And I wasn't prepared for how it was going to make me feel. Because, very little bothers me. But that loss took it out of me. And then my brother going right after. So I didn't know if I had any humor left, but I do, as it turns out.
There's a book about Dickens by a British literary critic called John Carey. He wrote, "Dickens is essentially a comic writer. The urge to conceal this, noticeable in some recent studies, can probably be traced to a suspicion that comedy compared to tragedy is light. Comedy is felt to be artificial and escapist. Tragedy, toughly real. The opposite view seems more accurate. Tragedy is tender to man's dignity and self-importance and preserves the illusion that he is a noble creature. Comedy uncovers the absurd truth, which is why people are so afraid of being laughed at in real life." What do you think about that?
I think it's way too deep for me. I don't even, you know. But it sounds like something a guy would say. You know, I think it's the same thing. Comedy and tragedy is the same thing. If you scratch it, you'll find whatever is there. And because we're not taught that it's okay to be sad or be angry, you know, everybody carries, I'm going to say a bad word, I really appreciate you not getting upset. But, you know, everybody carries their own bullshit. So what makes you sad doesn't necessarily make me sad. I may find it ridiculous. So it's you don't know until you're in it. At least that's what it is for me. I don't know until I'm in it how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? Because I know you're a comic too.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this?
Well, I think I watched an interview in which you said that, well, about comedy as a coping mechanism, about laughter, like what you said before, turning things lighter. And you also said that laughter and tears are often close together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. They are not opposites. They are like neighbors, because they both are a moment where you release tension. The opposite of laughing is not laughing, being serious, being solemn.
Yes, but you know what happens when that happens. Your stomach starts to hurt.
Yeah.
Because you know, even if it's funny and you try not to laugh, then you got cramps. You're uncomfortable because you're trying to keep a facade up. Just be you. Just be yourself. Laugh when it makes you, when it moves you. And I'm terrible because I laugh at funerals, which is why I don't go to them. I do, because I had a friend who passed away, and in the coffin, and he also wore a hairpiece. I should have started with this. He wore a hairpiece, and in the coffin it was like this. So everyone saw it, but nobody was doing anything about it. And I started giggling. And people like, shh. I was like, do you not see what's in the coffin? Do you not see that his hair looks like this? And everybody said, yes, but it's not funny. I said, it is funny. It is funny. Somebody should fix it. Nobody tried. So I tried. And it didn't work out as well as I would have liked it to. But I made the effort, you know? Let me just say his family was not pleased.
Don't you feel that your observation, that's not right, is like a childlike observation, because in the grown-up world, in the grown-up funeral, you are expected to pretend not to notice that is not right, and you have to be like a childlike to say, no, I'm.
Or you have to be blind not to see that something is amok on somebody's head whose hair usually would be like this as opposed to this. And the idea, and also, I know he would have thought it was insane too, because he was someone who also laughed. That's why I say you have to acknowledge. If you don't acknowledge what you're seeing, then it's hard to continue to be present. But once you acknowledge it and go, this is ridiculous, you're cool. You can shed a tear if you need to. You can do everything you need to do because you're not fighting your instinct, which is to say, wow, that's different. It's important. You know, and it's like the little boy who said, you know, the king, the prince or the king, whoever has no clothes.
No clothes, yeah.
Yes, but adults do it, and we get mad at them. When adults tell the truth and say, hey, this isn't right, people get very upset with them. Everybody should lighten up. You know when you know when it isn't right. And you think you're the only one who sees it's not right. Imagine if you said to other people, am I crazy or is that weird? 50 other people say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. Connects you to people, you start connecting, you find people, then maybe you fall in love with somebody, you get married. I mean, you don't know, you gotta connect, I think. I'm not good at marriage, so don't listen to me.
You grew up in New York City in the projects, in like the 28th Street, more or less.
26th and 10th.
26th.
Yeah, and 10th Avenue.
10th. But you speak in this memoir about the, tough life.
Yeah.
Your mom had to endure to give you,
I didn't know this at the time.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't know it was a tough life. People told me later how rough I had it as a kid. My mother, everything seemed to be hunky-dory until she fell apart.
Yeah.
Then it was a different kind of ride.
But can you spot the circumstance or set of circumstances that in your upbringing made you a comedian? I mean, in the sense that you look at things with a comedic eye. How did that came about? Is it a defensive strategy? Is it a...
No, I have no idea.
No.
I started out as a straight actor, straight up actor. And the reason I started to do characters is because nobody would hire me. Because as a woman of color, people assumed I had no information about the world. And so I would write something, and then I'd go in and do it, and someone would say, what is that from? I'd say, oh, I forgot. It's from my head. I wrote it. But you can't tell that to people because, when you go in an audition, people are very serious about it. So I would always say, oh, I don't remember. So I knew I was going to be an actor when I was little. I had no idea that there was any humor in there until people didn't know how to categorize me because I was funny, but I told stories. I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, she's a comic. I'm not a comic. You have to joke is a comic. When you're on top of it like that, I don't know how to do that. I know how to tell long, meandering stories like the one I'm telling you now. Long, and it goes on, and then and then that happened, the end. So that's more me than the comedy. But I have to ask you because in looking at you, you don't look like a comic. You look like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you should be running, some corporation somewhere,
Yeah.
But I'm told you're funny as hell.
Oh, really?
That's what I've been hearing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay.
Thank you. Thanks. But that's true. I'm always disguised as a CEO.
Yeah.
I find it's more. It's funnier when you say silly things dressed like a proper gentleman than when you are silly dressed in silly clothes. So
yes.
So that's my strategy.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said although you are an actor. In your memoir, you say that your influences are, you say, I'm quoting you, when I was growing up, I also got to discover what it means to be a performer playing yourself. That's important. By watching the great comedians do their thing, I was absorbing it all from the pros. Moms Mabley, Totie Fields, Alan King, and Don Rickles.
Yeah,
What
and
was
Richard
it?
Pryor.
And Richard Pryor, yeah. What was it about them that fascinated you? Because you obviously have an inclination towards comedy. I wasn't expecting you to say, no, I'm not really a comic.
Yeah, no, I know. People don't expect it, but it's true. I mean, when I was a kid, these were the people who were on television on the Ed Sullivan Show. And they told stories that I found extraordinary and great, and they were funny. You know, there was a man called Alan King who talked about his life with a giant cigar, and it was wonderful. And when I met him, I was like, oh my God, you just knocked me out. You know, and the people that I got to talk to, like Robin Williams and you know, Billy Crystal, and, you know, these are all storytellers. I shouldn't have had that last piece of meat.
I'm really sorry. On behalf of the Portuguese people, I apologize.
That's all right. I apologize for whatever's wafting your way too. I know.
We can, let me talk about that, because,
Yes.
you know, I don't know if you know this, but Whoopi's name is Whoopi because of the whoopee cushion. I don't know if you know what a whoopee cushion is. It's a prank device. You blow into it, you put it under a chair, your friend sits, and it makes a fart noise. So Whoopi, Whoopi's name comes from that. Now, I find it,
It comes because in the theaters that I worked in before I got famous, there wasn't a lot of space in the back. So you had to change your clothes while you were moving. And so periodically, and I eat clean, so it wasn't like I was really messing people over. But you would hear. And I always would raise my hand so they'd know it was me, because I didn't want anybody to be blamed. And somebody said to me, my God, you're like a whoopee cushion. And it stuck. And then my mother said, I think whoopee cushion is not the name you should have. And I said, why? And she said, because it's as if you're not taking yourself seriously. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, really, oh great namer of the stars? What name should I have? And she said, well, you know, we have several in our family, but I think Goldberg would go with Whoopi. And I said, really? And she said, yes, that's my opinion. Do what you want. Well,
I was watching you on the Graham Norton show not that long ago, and he asked you, why Whoopi? And you very candidly and very dignified, you said, I'm a bit of a farter. And you have to agree that it's really funny that all the awards, the most prestigious awards in the world.
I know.
I was watching you on the front row in that Pope thing, and I was thinking to myself, so there's a woman that has all the most prestigious awards in entertainment. Mm-hmm. She was invited by the Pope.
Yep.
Her name is Whoopi. Because I fart.
And I believe in my heart that the Pope farts. Yeah. I believe everyone in this room cuts the cheese from time to time. And some people will say, no, I never fart. You do.
You know, in the 12th century, there was an English court jester called
Le Petit Man.
Roland the Farter, yes.
Oh, well, there are two. One in France called Le Petit Man. It's brilliant,
You know, this Roland the Farter guy in the 12th century, it's estimated that the king paid him a piece of land, the equivalent of 100 football fields in Suffolk.
Wow.
Suffolk. Because what he had to do was he had to perform before the king every year on Christmas Day at the same time and all at once unum saltum, unum siffletum, et unum petum. That's Latin for a jump, a whistle, and a fart. What is it, you think, about the less noble functions of our body that makes us laugh? Is it because it reminds us that we are not that great as we tend to believe if we are not careful?
It's the great equalizer. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Sometimes the King of England will be sitting like this. You know what's going on. And moreover, your mind tells you that's what's going on, and that's why you're laughing, because you're thinking, that's exactly me sitting right there. It's the thing that brings us all together. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Because if you don't, you could end up hurting yourself. So why deny it? Stand up.
Maybe not now.
I don't think we should all do it at one time. But be proud. You know, be proud of it. Tell your kids, listen, my mother used to say, there's more room out than in. And she was right. You fart, don't you? All of you fart in the first row? You look like you're not proud of it. Stand and say, I'm a farter. Come on, babe. No, next to you. Come next to you. Yes, yes. You sit. You stand now, because they missed you.
Yep.
Proud farter.
My God, what a wonderful celebration.
It could be worse. We could have eaten badly.
Yeah. In your memoir, you speak about another person that died and that was really important to you. It was Mike Nichols.
Yes.
About your Broadway show, at a certain point you say, I'm going to quote this, it's a bit long, but you say, we had been rehearsing for about a week in a Broadway theater, and one afternoon I was doing my thing on stage, and Mike started to shift in his chair.
Yep.
Can I stop you? I said, yeah. And he said, with a big, deep sigh, does this story have an end? Yeah, it does. I'm so glad you know that, because you came to the end of the story quite a while ago. And you say, you're right. I'm not listening to myself because I've done this a lot. I know it all so well. Mike came to the edge of the stage. You can't be on automatic like that. You have to keep yourself ready for anything that happens because you're an improviser.
Yeah.
There's no reason to let it get old. You don't have to nail your own feet to the floor like that. And you say, I apologized and admitted that I was bored with the performance. He said, if you're bored, do something about it. Think about it. You have to pay attention to what you're doing, because if you're not paying attention, I'm not going to pay attention.
That's right.
How much of the final performance of your historic Broadway show, how much of that was honed in these rehearsals? And how did that process come about? How much was written? How much was honed there?
All my stuff comes from my head. I will write down things I want to get to. But I'm a terrible memorizer, so I can't remember anything. So I am the perfect person to go out and stretch, because I just keep talking about whatever's on my mind, and that's what I started to do. And I was boring myself because the things I had done for years, that I knew I could do it, and that's what I was doing. And he said, oh my God, you know, is there an end to this? Because he was bored and I was bored. He said, well, if you're going to be bored, then how do you think I'm supposed to feel? If you can't make it live for you, how are you going to do it for me? And that was like a revelation, because I'd been doing it, but no one no one had been directing me. I'd just been running amok on my own. And he made a much better performer out of me, because I know now that there are things that I know I will talk about. You know, I used to talk about menopause a lot when I was in it, because in the early days, nobody ever talked about it. But I thought it was funny as hell, because you spend all this time as a kid, you know, you're with the women, and you're listening to them talk, and you're waiting for them to drop some wonderful nugget. But as soon as they realize that you're there, they make you leave, because you're a kid. And so all I wanted to do was grow up and be a woman. And then I became a woman, and all I wanted to do was go back, because it was too much. And so I used to talk about the fact that, you know, so that I could tell women what was coming. I would say, yeah, you know, you want to have this amazing sex. You want to have amazing sex. And then it's too hot. And then it's too cold. And then somebody wants to get on you. And you're like, get off me. Or you're walking and you hear, and you turn around and there's a line of dust behind you where you came walking, because you're so dry that your body is turning into dust. So for me, when Mike told me I needed to be present, I thought, oh, so if I start to get bored on stage, I can flip into something else, as I just did, started talking about something different, because that's the ride for me. It's like surfing. And when you have enough stuff that interests you, it might not interest everybody, but you're not there for everybody. You're there because this is what you like. This is what you're doing. And then you make it interesting for an audience. Men always do the same thing. As soon as you start talking about your body as a woman, they zone out, because it freaks them out. Because men don't understand our bodies. But women don't understand their bodies either, so that's why you got to give them information.
I have been hearing a lot about menopause.
Yes.
Because my wife is going through it.
Ah.
And she's furious because she thinks there's not enough information. She said, no one told me this would happen to me. There's treatments, there's hormonal
all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Why didn't anybody tell me? Someone should speak about this. You have a television show. And I said, I have a comedy show. What do you want me to do? To say, hi, good evening. Today, menopause.
Why not? And here's my wife. You know, why not?
Yeah,
well, this is part of the issue, and this is a worldwide issue of women not sharing this information with each other, because women have always been taught not to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody wants to hear it, so we don't discuss it. And because of this, it's unfortunate, but we have women who are not aware of how their bodies work. That's why people sometimes don't know that they're pregnant, because they're not aware. And I think that part of the problem is to get men to recognize that we're all going through it. You know, men, I don't know, I think men go through their own version. We used to say, oh yes, he's got a new woman and a Corvette, that's what he's going through.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's mental for men too, and they don't know that their wife is going through something, so they're in a fight that they don't know that they're in. That's why communication is really important. You have to say to people, listen, I love you to pieces, but I can't, and I don't understand how this is happening, but it ain't you. And if you can say that, it makes it a lot easier. And if you're two women, you gotta talk to each other about it. You can't suffer in silence. No one needs to. Be uncomfortable, be afraid, suffer in silence. If you have a partner, learn to talk to that person. It's imperative. It's imperative. You know?
when I was preparing this, I never thought that menopause was going to be a subject. But I'm glad it is. I'm glad it was.
But this is what you have to know about me. You never know what's going to come up.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I was telling you backstage, I was rewatching your historic Broadway show, for which you got the
I got the Grammy. I got the Grammy for that.
Yeah, the Grammy. And it was, you play lots of characters. So you do something that's, I think it's impossible. You play a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tough to do that. No props, just the way you talk, and to do that without being. Do it believably. Mm-hmm. It's really, I would say, impossible, and you pull it out.
Well, I think
pull it off.
People liked and out. What's on your mind?
I'm sorry, the prepositions always trouble me. I'm sorry.
I think that because I understood what this character's issue was, I didn't have any problem with her because I could hear her. The thing about my characters is I can hear them in my head. And if I hadn't turned out to be an actor, I might have become a lawyer or someone who lived in an asylum. Because things make sense to me when they're talking. They say, this is how I feel, this is what's going on, and I translate that.
Yeah. Something that struck me while reading your memoir was you seem to talk about fame and awards and all the stuff that happened to you, like that, like this happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your mother was always you didn't let it go to your head because
no,
she helped you.
Oh yeah.
But you were also very nonchalant about it. Just like what's the name of that play, that Sondheim play you did? Something funny happened to me on the way. Yeah, it's like something funny happened to you on your way to the grave.
Yes.
There's a title of a book that's like that.
That might be the next title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, nobody has a luckier life than I do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I all the good stuff and all the bad stuff, all the stuff that makes sense to me, all the stuff that doesn't make sense to me, it's all part of this ride, which is why I don't mind celebrating my 69th birthday coming up. I like that because I know so many people who didn't get to be 69. I know so many people who didn't get to be 40, so many people who didn't get to be 30. So for me, it's always, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that people aren't screaming at me all the time. I'm grateful that people aren't, threatening me all the time. It makes it easier for me to keep my head up and a good balance when you know that you're lucky and you're grateful. You get to stay if you can maintain it. So I'm not saying that I was so lucky and I have no talent. I am very talented. Oh no, yeah, oh no. No. But that's another thing that we are taught as human beings not to do. Not to say, yeah, I'm good at what I do. No, you're supposed to have this kind of bullshit kind of thing, this false sense. I'm very clear on who I am. I'm very clear on who I am. And what works for me and what can't work for me. Like, I'm looking around, I see lots of married people, lots of people together. I chuckle when you talk about your wife. It's like, yeah. Because I love seeing it, and I know I can't do it. I can't. I tried like 3 or 4 times. And when When 3 or 4 times you realize it's not something you should be doing, you have to stop. You have to stop. So I try to celebrate everything. Because look at us. Did you ever think you were going to grow up and become yourself, Ricardo?
No. I understand you perfectly.
Yeah.
Just lucky, yeah.
You know, but also talented.
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, baby. Oh, no. See, here we go. Hold on. Ricardo.
Yes.
If you didn't have the talent, you would not be where you are. Because it takes talent to do what you do. It's not, you know, this is, and I mean this with no disrespect to influencers or people who are on reality shows. I mean, no disrespect to any of you. But you cannot, like, you can't just go on a stage and be an opera singer. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing, and you do. Because if you didn't, you'd know. You wouldn't be here. I know this. So you have what it takes to have done what you did and to maintain it. This is important for people in whatever walk of life you're in. Celebrate yourself. If you have done these things in your life, if you've made a movie, if you've made a company, if you've made an idea, if you've made great kids and they're doing all right, celebrate that. You earned it. Stop beating yourself up. Don't do it, man. Did you get it? Okay.
That's, again, in your memoir, you are, I'm sorry. You are, because you released it like in May, maybe? Yeah. And it relates to the topic that we are discussing here today, which is about how
life
comedy,
and how to try to get through.
But you are always like surprised at some point, Mike Nichols says, I'm going to have lunch with Carl, Paul, and Steve. Do you want to come? And you said, okay, who are these people? I know people called Carl,
Paul, and
Steve. And it was Steve Martin, Paul Simon, and Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, because I thought, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And I said to Mike, are you sure you want me to stay? And he said, why wouldn't you stay? Look at who we're eating with. What are you doing? I said, well, maybe they don't want to be around me. He said, sit down. And I sat down, and I just listened to these men talk. And Paul Simon, on the opening night of my show, said to my mother, please make sure that she enjoys this ride. Because Artie Garfunkel, Artie and I didn't know it was okay for us to enjoy this. Make sure she has a good time with this, because it doesn't happen to everybody, and it doesn't happen all the time. There, you know, and there it was, and my mother told me. So I listened to most of what she says, you know.
Your publicist, just before the Broadway show, she said to you, it's a she, right?
Yeah,
it's a
man.
She. Yeah. And she said, she also said, enjoy these moments before you are galactically famous.
Yes.
So she knew before you that what the avalanche that you were going to face.
Yeah.
How was that for you? The impact.
I thought she was kidding. I thought, what are you talking about? It's a show. It's on Broadway. It's not going to. And then my life shifted literally overnight, and it was freaky because suddenly people were yelling from cars and trucks and running up from trains, because I was still taking trains, still getting on the train. People would go, oh my God, I saw your show last night. And people would sit down, and like suddenly there were people talking to me, and people let me into restaurants. And suddenly for them, I was somebody. And what I came to understand, and that my mother instilled in me, is that I was always somebody, but it was just somebody new to them, not to me. So that was, Did you go through a similar thing? Because you were part of a trio or a duo?
Foursome?
A quartet.
The quartet, yeah. I'm sorry, I was thinking about another thing. Sorry.
That's not a throuple, right? No, a throuple is three. No, so, but when you realized that you were going to stand on your own, and people started to respond to you, didn't you think to yourself, oh my God, what is happening?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Did it scare you?
Yes, because it's scary.
Yeah.
And my friends, my three friends, that we felt very close because we went through it together. So, yeah, we are the only ones that know how that punch feels like. But
were they mad at you ever?
No, they weren't. They are wonderful people.
Even wonderful people can lose it.
Yeah, but I would be mad that the press or the public or something would find one of them and not me, the pretty boy. But
I understand that.
They
I
are
see
okay
that.
with it.
Yeah.
They are okay with it. They say, yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
See, when I first got famous, I'd gone to Broadway. I had been living in Berkeley, and I had a group of theater friends, and we did all these crazy plays outdoors and, hanging from trees and spouting all this stuff. And what we all said was, whoever gets famous, you have to bring everybody else with you. You have to get us into restaurants. You got to bring us. And we all said yes. And when it happened, everybody left me. And I couldn't figure out what was happening because we were fine, and then we weren't. And now, after 45 years, we've come back together. But for the longest time, I thought, did I do something wrong? Have I done something? Are you mad at me? But it was just somehow sometimes hard for people to be happy for you when it's also their dream, which is why I'm not mad at anybody. But I didn't understand, because I thought we were all dreaming the same thing. And we were, but it just happened differently. So you were lucky.
Yes, I know. I know. When we were there at the Pope thing, what did you think when he said, I think for the first time ever, someone said that in the Vatican and his head wasn't chopped off?
Yeah.
He said, can we laugh at God? Of course.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Well, that was my second time with him, because I find him to be the closest to a pope that I was very aware of and really loved when I was a kid, named John the 23rd. And he was an extraordinary pope because he came in and said, listen, you're not going to get people coming in these doors unless you change this up. You need to speak the language that the people are speaking. You need to sing in the language the people sing in, because they don't know what you're saying. We weren't raised to speak Latin. So he came in and he made all these changes. And for the last almost 65 years, they have been trying to yank it back and say, no, we got to go back. And I wanted to thank him, because he said to people who were divorced, God still loves you. He said to gay folks, God still loves you. They may not get it, but God gets it. I thought that was the greatest shit I'd ever heard, because it came from the Pope. And if that's the closest person to God, if you subscribe to Catholicism, because some people do and some people don't. But if that's the closest cat, why are you doubting him? If he says, listen, I want to laugh more, which is what he said. He also thanked us for making people happy and making them laugh. He said it was something he wished he could do. Come on, no one ever said this to any comics anywhere before, ever. Because we're thought of as the lowbrow of entertainment. But without comics and without people who will tell you the truth, whether it's couched in humor or not, you can't do without us. You can't. It's just the way it is. Can't do without him.
I can't think of a better ending.
I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, so it was Ms. Whoopi Goldberg.